Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Pick 10 Scotty's Choice. Where everything is my choice. Mine. We are on the second film in this. Fanboys. Now, this movie, as a Star Wars fan, this movie speaks to me. Alright? This movie is like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you would probably like this movie. Because most of the main characters in this movie, all four of our main characters, guy characters, are Star Wars fans. And so, this was directed by Kyle Newman, and it actually has interesting backstory. I had to look this up because I remember this thinking it was going to come out earlier, and it took forever to come out. Because the trailer for this was on the Clerks 2 DVD. I got the Clerks 2 DVD from Hy-Vee when I bought it from Hy-Vee over there. I put it in. This trailer was on that DVD. And then it felt like forever for this to come out, finally in 2009, right? February of 2009, I should say. And then I think it took longer for the... I don't know if this went in theaters or just went direct to video. I don't remember. But the reason why it took so long is that this was supposed to come out in 2007. But then they had to do reshoots that the cast couldn't come back to. So it was pushed to 2008. And then they decided they had to recut the film to take out the cancer subplot of this film. And then there was a whole controversy with that because there was two versions of the film now, one with the cancer subplot, one without. And they screened them to see which one was better, and everyone wanted the one with the cancer in it. Stephen Brill, who directed the reshoots, was very much against this, and was very derogatory to the fans, calling them stupid and calling them losers, really. And that caused problems. And my opinion on the situation is, yes, keep the cancer subplot in. If you take it out, there's a big chunk of, what do you do? The whole reason they go on this trip, you don't know, here's the plot synopsis for you, a little plot crunch for you. Four childhood friends who love Star Wars in 1998, after reuniting in 1998, I should say, decide to go on a road trip to Skywalker Ranch to get a rough cut movie reel of The Phantom Menace. Because their friend has cancer and is going to pass away before the movie comes out. And so that is the plot. You embark on a road trip to go get this print. Now, you look at that. If you take the cancer subplot out, how does this movie make any sense? What pushes them to go on a road trip? You could say that you could recut it and make it about Eric and Chris Marquette's characters and Linus. Eric and Linus becoming friends again. You can do that. But the ending definitely needs the subplot. Needs the cancer subplot in it to work. And so I just feel like you need it in there. I will admit that the cancer subplot is in there, and then he's perfectly fine through most of the film, and all of a sudden when it's time for the third act, he's all of a sudden getting really sick, and the doctors are saying, no, you can't take him when he's going to go back to Ohio, you can't take him there. But then they end up going on a trip anyway. But like I said, if you're a Star Wars fan, there's a lot of things in here that you're gonna like. There's references and Easter eggs and costumes and all that stuff. They even reference the Star Wars Star Trek war that they had, which I guess I never got that because I like both. Well, I like Star Wars more, but I like both just fine. You know, I'm a Star Wars fan, I'm a Star Trek fan, even like Stargate. So, yeah, I can't really say I'm in war, but you do have that confrontation. They taking a road trip, they have Hutch. Okay, so our four main characters in here are Eric Bottler, played by Sam Huntington, who I will talk about in another movie in this list. Hutch, who still lives with his mom in her carriage house, played by Dan Fogler, who's been in a few things that I can't keep top of my head. I know he's been Take Me Home Tonight. Take Me Home Tonight. Have I ever reviewed that? That should have been in this list. Shit. I don't think I ever. It's another period piece. This takes place in the late 90s. That takes place in the mid 80s. That should have been in this list. I'll have to talk about it at some point. Jerry Baruchel, who's been in many things. She's Out of Your League, and A Sorcerer's Apprentice, and This Is the End. And then you have Chris Marquette, who was in the Always Watching the Marble Hornet Story, The Girl Next Door, among other things, Alpha Dog. And then Kristen Bell, of course, been in many things. They're the 5 main characters, essentially, you see right here. I guess Chris Marquette didn't want his face on there, so that's why he has the Chewie on. I don't know. But, yeah. So, So, during the road trip, there is a scene where Hutch decides to take a detour on the way to go to Texas. Then he goes to Iowa, the birthplace of one James T. Kirk, and confronts some Trekkies. Now, this is the first of Seth Rogen's 3 cameos in the film. He plays a Trekkie here. Later at a Star Trek convention, he plays a Klingon, and then eventually a pimp, or what you would say, that in charge of an escort service, who's a Star Wars fan. So he's 2 Trekkie people and then Star Wars fan, which the 2 of the characters actually get to yell at each other, but of course it's one of those things where they cut different camera shots of him yelling because we're not going to pay for a split scene, you know what I mean? Split screen, I should say. But yeah, and you have cameos in here as well. You got Carrie Fisher, right, who's Princess Leia. William Shatner, because Star Trek. Ray Park, Darth Maul, plays one of the security guards at Skywalker Ranch, as well as Danny McBride, because he's got to be in these things, I guess. And I think this is, if this was coming out in 2000, supposed to come out in 2007, so this is this is before Pineapple Express. That would be 2008. Seth Rogen and him would be in the movie next year, but this came out after, so people already knew who they were. George Lucas has never seen, but he's mentioned. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes make a cameo at a gas station bus stop, where it's implied that Jason Mewes was going down on a guy who happens to be the guy who played Kinky Kelly in Clerks 2. So it's apparent they were filming at the same time. Close to it, at least. Because they're relatively about the same looking, I guess, but yeah. And how did they get arrested? Is it speeding they get arrested for? I think, and they have to get her come and rescue him. And really, it's a forced way to get her in there. And there is some things that are forced, like all of a sudden there's some kind of love interest thing between her and Bottles. That's Jay Baruchel's character. All of a sudden there's like a love interest thing between them. And it does come out of nowhere. And like I said, the cancer subplot is there at the beginning. It's mentioned. This is why they're going on a trip. And then when they're trying to escape the convention, that's when all of a sudden, conveniently, the cancer strikes and he's sick and he has to go home and you can't go forward. It's only so they can push forward more and go for it. And it works. And once you get to Skywalker Ranch, I don't know if that's really what it looks like, but it's very Star Wars. Actually, you get a giant Darth Vader thing. Another scene you could have taken out is his van breaks down, so they have to go to this bar that ends up being like a gay bar, I think. It's implied, I guess. They make him strip dance to Menudo, and there's a running joke that Hutch has only one nut left. And a question I'm going to pose here in another review is, if you only have one nut left, is it still your left nut? If you only have one nut left, is it still your left nut? It's a question posed for this review and another one I'm doing. But there's connections to some of these movies, almost as if I have a thing. I don't know if it's if it's funny for me. I don't know, but yeah, this little subplot where they're at this place and you see Danny Trejo is the chief and he fixes their vans. I don't know. It really doesn't. It really only serves to give them the peyote so that they get arrested later. I don't know. And yeah, it really is about the relationship between Eric Mottler and Linus, and to a point, I think it does kind of go through, but there's really they do have conversations about why they fell out, I guess, but it doesn't really come full circle in a way. But the ending to this movie absolutely needs that subplot because after they go through an intense round of questions, which there's a thing in this film where they're just gonna be asked we have a bunch of Star Wars trivia, so we're gonna ask our characters questions so that they prove that the characters know Star Wars, and so they have a little thing at the police station. I think is the first time, and then here at the Skywalker Ranch, I have another question and answer round, and it goes from Star Wars to questions you'd ask a virgin to see if they know about sex, and they're very confused. What is funny is that Kristen Bell's the only one that knows the sex questions because she's not a virgin, but the rest of them are. Kind of funny. There's also another subplot with Eric being passed down the keys to his dad's car dealership, but that doesn't really go anywhere. It kind of pops up that it's like the dark side that he doesn't want to join, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And yeah, that doesn't really go anywhere. By the end of the film, you can say he didn't take it. I think his brother got it. By the way, I didn't realize this till the end of the movie, but his brother is David Denman. He looks very different here, but played by Dave Denman, I should say. But yeah, so they break into Skywalker Ranch. They get in trouble, but then they're like, he admires what you did, and he's gonna let you guys go after you answer all the questions. Make sure they're Star Wars fans. He's gonna drop charges and let you guys go. In real life, though, that would not happen. There's no way you could break into somewhere like Skywalker Ranch, and George Lucas is gonna be like, "Oh, you know what? I admire what you guys did here. So yeah, you can go. No, it won't go like that. It'll be like, throw them in jail, get rid of them. They broke in. The whole thing. It would not be slap on the wrist. He even lets Linus. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you guys can watch the movie." They're like, "What?" Only Linus though, and to me, that is why they get off scot-free. Because if you think about it, oh, I'm gonna let you guys go. By the way, you can see the movie. No, it's just a guy with cancer who's gonna pass, and you just think, oh, it's sweet. He gets to see the movie, but also, it's another thing where, oh, you guys snuck in to get the print of this movie. Only your friends who got cancer are going to see it. And you got to wait and pay your money to see it. So that's your punishment, And it is a bittersweet moment. He gets to see it, the whole thing. And yeah. And then we see them ready, all dressed up. Bottles is the Emperor, even though he's not in the movie. Well, he is. But he's Senator Palpatine at this point. She dressed as Leia, even though Leia's not in the movie. I guess they didn't know. They do mention Jar Jar, and they say that Jar Jar's going to kick ass, which it's a joke because people say Jar Jar sucks. But I mentioned in my review of the prequels, I don't hate Jar Jar. I think he's all right, and which also adds to the joke at the end of the film. When I first saw it, I didn't get it. Because in my eyes, I don't think that episode 1 sucks. So when I first saw it, they're sitting there, they're all cheering for Linus. They're like, "Hey guys, what if the movie sucks?" And I remember watching this going, "But it doesn't. Why would they put that in there? That doesn't suck." But I didn't get it at the time. I wasn't into internet culture as I am now, knowing that there was a lot of people who actually thought it sucked or didn't like it. I think it's the second best of the prequels, at least. You know, as you know, I do not like Attack of the Clones. I think it's boring. I think Revenge of the Sith is the best of the prequels, but I don't hate Phantom Menace. I enjoy it a bit, quite a bit. So, yeah, that joke went over my head at first, but yeah, for a Star Wars fan, I think that you'll appreciate this film for what it is. I think it's pretty much a must see for Star Wars fans if you want to check it out. And I'm gonna give it a pretty good. I think it's a solid film, solid comedy. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, there's not a lot of swearing in this, but I'm like, I thought it was rated R. Every time I watch this, I think it's rated R, but it's actually PG-13. I don't know. Maybe I remember the trailers being a little more rated R-ish. Maybe they cut it down to PG-13. I don't know. But I always thought it was a rated R. I don't know why. But, you know, regardless, still a fun flick. So, let's go ahead and roll it. The next one. There you go. 5. I was like, it was cut off. It's only 2. No, it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See what this is, shall we? What? Death becomes her. Okay, all the way down at the bottom here. I'm telling you, the one that I really want to review is probably going to be the last one. So far, we haven't gotten to it, so I'll see if this is available on a streaming service, because I'm also playing video games, so I can watch it on my phone. So we'll see. I'm gonna try to get this done tonight, but I don't know. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on Fanboys? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.